nevertheless, I'm going to give this a go. So one thing I can do is gear reviews. I've been using a tent for the last 3 years, pretty much constantly, every month, and this is it. It's the Nordisk Telemark 1, lightweight. It has a claimed weight of 830 grams, and we'll go and test that next. Now, full disclaimer, I really like this tent, but I'm not blind to its flaws. A bit like, you know, you love your wife, but you know the areas that you could improve on. So the claimed weight of 830 grams is extraordinarily light compared to other single hoop tents of similar design. I'll put some stats up just to see how it compares to other manufacturers' different tents. And there's no zoom on this camera, so take my word for it. I've just weighed it and it's coming out at 954 grams, not 830 grams. But of course that includes the tent bag, the pole splint, and all the other bags and stuff. So we'll just strip the tent down to what you actually need to pitch it, and we'll see what the weight is then. And so with the tent and the pole alone, it's reading at 832 grams, which is pretty close to the claimed, but there's no pegs with it yet. And I think we have to add the pegs for fairness, because there's not many tents are good without pegs. Now, you only actually need 4 pegs to pitch the tent, and the pegs that came with it are a kind of curved triangular design, and they feel quality, they feel very solid. But let's just add them on. Now that's reading 871 grams, so a little bit over claimed. And of course, 4 pegs is good to pitch the tent, but in windy conditions, there's 2 extra guys near the pole at either side that you'll really want to put up to give it a little bit more rigidity. So truthfully, it does need those extra 2 pegs, because I always put those up. So with the tent, the pole, the 7 pegs you needed to pitch and nothing else, it's coming up at 889 grams. So a little bit over, but not by much, like a big bag of crisps or something like that. You can get another version of this tent called the Telemark Ultra Lightweight, and the only difference as far as I can see is that instead of having an alloy pole, you have a carbon pole, and that saves you about 40 grams, I think, off the top of my head. But I can't remember the price, but it's much more expensive, and I tend towards the ultralight side of things, but that's a bit rich even for me. I've stuck to the alloy pole, and they're DAC Featherlight NFL poles, so quality poles, and the replacements aren't all that expensive. The 30 odd quid if you need to buy a new one. So after 3 years of near constant use, what I like about this tent is that it's still got a real quality, almost brand newish feel to it. None of the fabric, none of the seams feel degraded, and it's stood up really well. Just walk you around it. And let's have a look inside. This is one of the nice features I like. It's got a magnetic closure here, which it's not the be all and end all, but it's just it's a nice smart touch.
and that's just that guy is just an extra guy you can use to form a little bit of a kind of semi-tarp when you want to cook in the rain. And one of the other features is that it's got these ends here, and you can take 3 of them out, put them together to form a pole, and use that as a pole if you haven't got your walking stick, or you're not in a forest and there's no sticks. And I have to say, it's a feature that I've never used. You can, if you want, tie it back onto that loop there. And inside, one of the nice features is that it's got this webbing loop here, and if you want a bigger sleeping space, you just pull it out, or if you want more vestibule space, then you can just push it in, narrow your sleeping compartment, and then you've got a much bigger area to cook and stick your rucksack and all that kind of stuff. And inside, oof. Oh, brought the guy up in. Inside it's a lovely chewy yellow colour. And another neat feature is that the pocket doubles as a tent bag, so the whole thing can fold away and wrap itself into this little bag, which is pretty neat. I've never seen that before in another tent. It's pretty smart, and it's got a bunch of little extra bits and pieces, replacement parts, hanging off the back as well, which is really nice. There's not a lot of space between the fly and the inner. I think it's one of its disadvantages. And the sit-up height is about from the ground to here. I think it's 86 centimeters, which is not great for a tent. And the only tiny little mod I've made is I've put a bit of Dyneema across there as a little washing line to hang me glasses and me light and me damp socks off. So I've used this tent in loads of different conditions. It's largely stood up really well. It's been great in wind. That's just a short clip of 40 to 50 kilometer winds on windy gale, and for such a lightweight tent it was pretty solid, and I slept well in it. Once, and I don't know if that was just a particular set of weather circumstances, but on a recent camp in the Lake District, it didn't shed rain like it should have done. This part didn't shed rain, and I woke up and it collected, and then it froze overnight, and then I woke up with like a kind of round pool of ice over my feet, and it had touched the inner, and the inner had got damp for that. But it's not a perfect tent, it's just a really nice one. For me, the advantages are that it's really lightweight, it's very easy to pitch, it's got a load of nice features. What I don't like about it is that condensation can be an issue in tents like this, single hoop tents. The ventilation isn't great. It's meant to have kind of scalloped edging around the fly, but it doesn't really work. Even on short grass, a bit of heather there or snow, it'll block that really easily, and then it doesn't work at all. But good tent, recommend it. And the other disadvantage that I've got to mention is that the size of the thing, it's great for me. The standoff height is just about or the sit-up height, I guess, is just about okay for me. But in Lord of the Rings terms, I'm a sort of hobbit. Hey, look, I've even got no shoes on. But if you're more of an elf or even a troll, it's probably not going to be your sort of tent.